This once forgotten space becomes more active, visually engaging, and it very well integrates with the surrounding context. Hi, my name is Omid and I'm the design architect on this project.
Hi, I'm Ian. I'm one of the founding partners of Craft of Architecture and the lead design along with Omid on this project.
So the original brief for this project was this courtyard was quite unused and how we can reactivate this courtyard. So first time we came to the site, you could see, even though these surrounding buildings are very busy, the courtyard itself is quite empty and uninviting, mostly because of the lack of visibility, strong winds, lack of shading and seating, which are the elements that draws people in. And that's how we came up with the concept of ribbon. We use that as a continuous and flowing element that ties the space together. It transforms itself to shading, seating, and planted spaces that moves along this courtyard. It becomes a guideline for movement and bring a sense of connection and fluidity between the surrounding buildings.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how there's so many different textures in these buildings around us, and they're actually really well designed. There's a lot of detail, but if you're actually in the courtyard, everything's super hard in here. It's like glass walls, the floor is just granite, there's steel, there's almost no softness. There's one sort of textured concrete wall over there. So I think like the original thought as well is we got to get some kind of green into the space. There's one barren tree that was stuck in the corner, but we really wanted to bring the landscaping in, and how did we do that? But I think that was also a starting point. And then also whatever textures are in here, try and bring in natural materials. So it's easy with the soil, and you got the plants, and that's originally a texture in itself, and you can see the bark and everything else within the planters sort of gives it a softness. But what are we going to introduce? And that's where you bring in the natural concretes. And then even the palette, like it is very grey in here if you just look around. The glass, the grey steel, and so we didn't want to do the same sort of palette. So there we've picked the much warmer colours, which is in the browns of the steel. And then, yeah, as Omid said, there's this ribbon that kind of threads through as an idea, but there's also this contrast, because you can see all the planters have a softness to them, so they're rounded, very rounded corners, but then the ribbon has this angular form, and it's actually amazing when you sit here and you see how it's finished. It ends up being quite an artistic sculptural form, which you sort of saw in the 3D model and you knew it was going to happen, but because of the scale and it's quite big, when you actually sit in here, it's actually quite calming. Yeah, and I think in the spaces as well, we didn't just want to have sort of one place to sit that was the same. So depending on where you sit, you either get a backrest, you sit on an open bench on the other side, other parts are shaded, other parts are completely in the open, other ones have the planters around. So it's just trying to create flexible areas for people to hang out in.